Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones, back with a new man law video. It's been a while since I've done one, and I figured, what way to spend Labor Day than to help instruct people out there on just for give some tips on, on the art of manliness. I guess I would say I'm a fairly masculine person. If you have any doubts about that, I guess you can check out my other videos and the proofs in the pudding. I'm not perfect, obviously, but I'd say that I have a good track record that you can check out and see for yourself. Right now, the tripod I'm using, um, just to diverge a little bit, but the tripod I'm using right now is a 30 caliber ammo can um, that's holding up the base that actually came with the GoPro when I bought it. That's what I've been using all along as a base for as a base for the GoPro camera, and it seems to be working pretty well. I think see it as me stepping up in the world. But this video today's man law: be dangerous. Now, what does that mean? Well, think about the way how men act and how they act. We've observed men's action throughout time, and there have been different types. There have been those who have been very passive. They kind of waited for things to happen to them. They didn't take many risks. They were always trying to be very cautious, not wanting to misstep, and I guess they made their place in the world. But there are also those who on the other extreme who are just reckless, and they act without regard. They're fairly destructive. They don't care about the aftermath of their actions, and yeah, they tend to blaze their own path, but it's not something that's really conducive to any long-term plans. They tend to be very wasteful. They don't a lot of damage, a lot of things get burned up around them because of the decisions they make. And then I would say there are those who they walk that fine line of having all that strength, having all this power, but they reserve it. They reserve it for particular times when it has to be called for. And I would say those are dangerous men. Now, being dangerous shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. In fact, I think it's a good thing for men to be dangerous, to recognize that they can be dangerous. And I came about this through early on in life. I observed how I act around people, how I handle conflict, and some of the thoughts I would have whenever I was in uncomfortable situations, and I thought about I could probably do some damage when it was unnecessary. It would probably get my point across, but and I mean physical damage. I could probably do that and get my point across, but wasn't all that productive. It wouldn't be called for. The situation wouldn't call for me to have to break stuff or hurt people or stuff like that. But and over time, I've realized that all right, that's the kind of person I am. But I can dampen that a bit. I can choose my words carefully. I cannot be so abrasive. Even nowadays, I still kind of act like a dick. But it's generally for a good reason. It's because I'm dealing with people who they think too high of themselves, and it kind of helps them to be brought down a bit. And so I use words that can words that some of the things I say can be perceived as dangerous talk, or it's not necessarily threats, but you're saying things that could arouse conflict, but you're doing it to really just kind of hey, let's cool your jets. You're not hot shit like you think you are. There's always someone better than you that can take you out. There's always someone who could do a lot better than you can. So always be mindful of that. But I've watched a couple of videos on the subject, and especially when I've been working on the truck, I'll be up there around 2 in the morning, hammering away at ball joints, trying to install these things in the steering knuckle, and wrenching away at tie rod ends. And I was listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson. If you guys haven't heard of him, I suggest you check him out. He has a lot of good videos. on topics like that, and he did a video where he talked about. And I'll try to include the link in the description box, where he said that it it actually it's good to be dangerous. It's good to acknowledge your capacity for danger to do damage, because, and this is very important, it allows you to spot out those who are reckless, and you be able to better do something about it. He said because the opposite of that would be, like I said, you'd be a harmless individual. Well, when is it, and speaking from a prepper standpoint, how, does it pay off to be harmless? Or even just a masculinity standpoint, does it pay to be harmless? Why would you want to be something that can be easily destroyed? Why something that can easily be used, abused, taken advantage of? Why be like that? I think it actually helps to know how dangerous you can be, and that way you can know how to control it. That way you know how to use it for good, and also be able to spot out those who are dangerous, but use it for reckless means, use it for for evil means, use it for evil ends, and be able to deal with them accordingly. You know, like I mentioned earlier in the video about the hurricane, about Hurricane Harvey, and there was the cop there was a retired officer who was in the parking lot, with the shotgun, watching out and protecting the other stores. Now, yes, he is dangerous, but he's not reckless. So he was posing himself to be dangerous to those who were breaking the law. He wasn't perceiving himself to be harmless. That way, you'd be taken advantage of by those who actually are dangerous and reckless. So I think it would benefit men greatly, and even to an extent women as well. But I like to focus on I like to focus on men in these videos, because I think it's something that needs to be discussed. I remember growing up in school, going to school. There was this culture of trying to make boys harmless, and the way schools did that was, so if a bully was picking on you, you had to go tell the teacher. And I used to get picked on a lot when I was a little kid, and I would tell the teacher, but it wouldn't stop. So the only time it really would stop is when I had to fight back, and that was me being dangerous, but being dangerous with a purpose. It was for a good reason, because I had a kid who was bullying me, and obviously telling the teacher wasn't helping. But I knew that maybe if I stood up for myself, I didn't let myself be an easy target, it would get him off my back for a while, and it worked. But what schools do nowadays, as at least what they did when I was much younger, they would punish both. And I remember even when I was in junior high, someone was playing around, someone would play around in the play fight, try to hit me, and thinking that I was gonna take it as a joke. But I said no. I started throwing punches, and so we both went to the principal office, and he told me this. He said, "Well, you were both, you fought back, so I can't just let you off the hook." And I said, "But wait a minute. He started hitting me first," and I think that's how schools are hemming up boys. They're making them second guess what their instinct should tell them to do is fight back, to defend yourself, or stick up for people who are being bullied. They try to make them dependent on someone else to do their job for them. I think a lot of schools, from their policies, have tried to make boys harmless, and then they want to becoming harmless men who are afraid of taking action on their own, who are when something happens, they don't know what to do. They're lost. They say that they could resort to violence, but they've been taught violence is never the answer, which is a bunch of horse shit, because why do we have police? Why do we have a military? Why do we have people who actually do dangerous things to protect all of us? So this idea that it's wrong to be dangerous has been counterproductive, because there are always going to be those who are going to do what they want to do, and damn what everyone else says, they're going to do what they want to do, but they're going to be reckless. They're going to and they have evil intentions. They have evil plans. And this goes back to a video I did a while back called "Right Needs Might." You know, good men should not be harmless. They should have a degree of danger within them to be able to fight back a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths out there. But that's a video I just wanted to do today. I hope you guys are enjoying your Labor Day. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll make a video response for yourself. For yourself. Like I said, I'll look at that video and I'll include it in the link in the description box of this video. If you want to make a contribution to the channel, just go to my homepage, look for the "Give Up That Cheese" button on my homepage photo, and you help make a donation to the channel, and help bring out quality content or even better content in the future. Any gripes, complaints, please feel free to send me a PM. I'll see what I can do to address them. But that's my video. It's another man law video. Be dangerous. I'm Edward Jones, and you guys take care.